So here's the latest guy I have a man crush on, Jon Bernthal. Now he's a tough guy, he's the Punisher, he's in a lot of different movies. Now he's usually just kind of a thug, you know, he's kind of a background guy a lot of times. So the thing that I really took from him from studying him this week is that the hero's journey, when you get down to deathbed, there's a choice. There's a choice down at the bottom where you're like, all right, do I want to keep being this person or that person? You can see the two identities of yourself, the old you and the potential new you. Now, it's scary because you haven't been that new person yet, but you're like, I got to stop being the old person. Jon here, like many double masculine ESTPs, you know, was kind of a bully, kind of a tough guy, kind of an extroverted guy. So let me just show you real quick his YouTube channel, Real Ones. It's really good, where he interviews like people that are going through really hard stuff and people that are going through war, stuff like that. This is who he is today. Just a deep, loving guy who's really actually taking in and listening to other people. He's not doing this, right? He's kind of in a Mike Tyson state, I guess you could say, right? His type is going to be the same type as Donald Trump, but very different than Donald Trump. Different as far as hero's journey, you know, kind of this way, and then different socially. He doesn't seem to be like, has to be the number one like Donald Trump or whatever. But you'll definitely see in the guy the double masculine, the aggression, the fighting, the punching, because think about that, SE, FE, masculine. These guys are fighters. Let me set up the clip. So this is actually him with Joey Diaz. He's in Joey Diaz's podcast, and Jon here is just going on a sleep last ramble rant. He's just OE going through it. He's telling his story. He's telling it really fucking fast. But he was finally starting to make it in the movies and doing TV shows, and now he's out in the fucking street hanging out with his buddies, and there was the guy that seemed to be playing the same archetype. This guy that was a bully, he was fucking pouring drinks on people, he's being a real fucking dick. It was cringing Jon out so much, and the guy kind of fucked with Jon's dog and wouldn't give Jon his dog back, and so there was kind of a scuffle between him and Jon, and finally Jon had enough and fucking punches the guy, knocks him out, he falls back on the concrete and gets fucking knocked out unconscious. So Jon goes to jail and goes, shit, God, what, I was just about to get somewhere in my life, and now I'm punching somebody out, and now I'm in jail, and now I may be going to fucking prison forever. So he's telling a story where he's at this crossroads, and NI at the bottom, feminine NI at the bottom, he's like, I can see the pathways. Now, of course, the Sleep Last EPs, they gotta go all the way to I'm sitting in the fucking jail cell before I can see where the fucking pathway's going. You know, the EPs are like, I have NI. Yeah, you sure do, when it's at the last fucking second. But the point is, he finally gets to a point in his life where he's like, fuck. And he goes, I need to make a decision. Who the hell am I going to be?
They ended up taking me away because the guy wasn't waking up. They put him in an ambulance. He still hadn't woken up 45 minutes later. I had a career, man. I was a series regular on a few TV shows. I'd done, 12, 15 movies. And I'm sitting there on this bench in the Pacific Division. And, all of a sudden, I remember being locked up when I was a kid because I'm in a situation where I'm handcuffed to this bench and, they got the wall right there so you can't even move to one side or the other. And I had to piss so fucking bad. I couldn't believe I'm at a situation when I piss, I can't go piss. I got to ask somebody permission. He's not going to let me. And these cops are on me. Hey, if he doesn't wake up, that's it, motherfucker. You know how they are. Just in my ear. If you don't wake up, you're done. And I knew, man, right there on that bench, I said to myself, look, man, this is going to go one of two ways. But if he doesn't wake up, I'm going down and I'm going through that room that way. And I'm done, man. I'm done with family. I'm done with friends. And I'm gonna be the devil. I know what it means to be locked up in California, and you ain't getting out of that clean. And I'm ready to be that guy. I'm ready. And it was a scary feeling because I wasn't scared. It was peaceful. I'm ready to be that guy.
It's really fucking intense. So what he's talking about is what we're seeing is like deathbed. Let's just take a look at the slide right here. Just start here in the middle. The deathbed is like there's a repentance, there's an awareness, there's a consciousness, and then eventually there needs to be like a mentor. You need to get some outside information. Like, okay, now what do I do? If I'm gonna go on this new life, I don't know what to do. All I know is I just beat people up. I don't know what to do. But there's a conscious choice that's happening, and that's what he's doing. He's going, you're having your prayer to God, right? And we all do that. We'll be up here and things will be hard in townsfolk land. I'm like, I promise if I get out of this, I'll never do this again. And then, of course, you go back to doing it. But eventually that becomes true. Kind of look at the context here. So right before deathbed is the fixed mindset where the trauma is adding up. You're getting older. You're getting in more and more bar fights. You're getting in more and more things that are causing you problem. You're like, this is getting bad. I'm getting a little bit more anxiety every time I go out. I'm getting a little bit more depression every time I go out. I'm a little less, I'm more gun shy. I don't know if I really want to do something. I'm kind of just locked in my room. I'll just watch videos, right? So this is happening over time. Your 20s, 30s, 40s. It starts adding up. The steps before it, you're a dumb, naive kid. You're 21, life is easy, saviors only, let's go do a TED Talk, let's do an app, let's save the world, what's the fucking problem? The government should just do this, my parents should just do that, the guy on the internet should just do, everything's fucking easy. Because you haven't got the decades of ground down to see your savior fucking functions only that are doping you up with dopamine, and you're so goddamn unconscious of everything. That starts to wear off as you get older, and then finally, for some people, you get in one of these situations. It's also fascinating too, there's like a censor thing. Oftentimes in people's stories or your own story, you'll have a moment where you're like, okay, that was it. That was the last straw. You'll anchor some censor thing of like, it was the time I couldn't take a piss. That was it. Now, it wasn't that event, right? But like that was the one, like all this pressure, like you'll anchor onto that as a thing to remember that event, right? All right, back to his clip. He's processing his choice. He's processing his two roads.
But Lord, if you can just wake this guy up, like if you can just change this. I am done, man. I'm done with the bullshit. I'm done with the drinking. I'm done with the messing around. I'm going to commit to my lady. I'm going to commit to my work. I'm going to be about making a family, and I'm going to trim all the fat off my life. And I know I should have learned this lesson, but I need to learn it right. But I've learned it now. If you just give me the shot. And look, sure enough, this guy ended up waking up. He ended up suing me for a whole shit ton of money. July 3rd, 2010, 1 year later, I was on set for Walking Dead, and I got married right after the first year of Walking Dead. And that's really when my life changed in every single way. And I started working different, started behaving different. And I can tell you, man, I've really, something Sean says all the time, man. I think the biggest gift you can hope for in this world, I don't mean to be, preachy, man, but I think it's peace, man. If you can find some peace of mind. I got nothing left to prove to anybody anymore, man. I have real peace. I'm in love with my wife. I'm in love with my kids. I'm in love with my career.
He goes on, and I got to interrupt. It's a sleep last carry on, right? What's really interesting about these types, let's just say extroverted types or sleep last types, is that they've got to get into so much trouble and they're not processing. So they're going through way more hell than most people, and then they're not really downloading it and processing it, right? So think about somebody who's like Alex Honnold, where he's like more sleep energy. He's like, look, I don't got to get beat to death. I'll learn. I'll put pressure on myself. I'll set goals. I'll become somebody. So he can take a lot from a little. Just take a little bit of negativity, really process it, and then maximize it. So the introverts, the sleep energy types, they're able to kind of do that a little bit more, right? But with these extroverts, it's like they've got to go through it all, but then they finally get down to the deathbed where they actually have the universe going, all right, you need to make a choice. Finally, there's got to be a point where the person can see their other selves, right? Like with videotyping, it's fascinating to watch people not be able to see themselves, not even kind of a little, right? And so eventually that wears off. When you get older, you're like, oh, I am the abusive person. I am doing this. No wonder my life is so fucking hard. No wonder I have so much depression and anxiety. This isn't coming from outside of me continually, decade after decade. I can see finally now how I am doing this. I mean, everybody's been telling me my whole fucking life, and I'll see it in little glimpses. Yeah, whatever. But finally, you're just unable to forget that. You're just unable to forget I am fucking my life off, and I can fucking see it, and I'm going to make a choice.
And what I came to figure out, literally a year later on July 3rd, 2010, I remember I ended up writing a letter. I never sent it to the guy. I wrote a letter to that guy that I knocked out. And I remember thinking and realizing that was me, and not to get too trippy, but that was me that I knocked out. That was the old version of me, man. I saw shit in him. I saw behavior in him. I saw a brashness and a loudness and a disrespect in him that I'd seen in the younger version of myself. And I was done with that guy, man. I was done with that guy. And, that event ended up really changing my life right there along with Walking Dead.